Thanks, guys. Gareth Evans' The Raid 2 Barandal picks up mere hours after the events of the 2011 film The Raid Redemption. Having barely had time to recover from the events of the first film, Rama, played by Iko Uwais, is tasked with going undercover to infiltrate and take down a Jakarta crime syndicate, uncovering corruption in the police force in the process. The plot has its contrived points, and the typical action tropes are there: faction warfare, hidden agendas, betrayal, the usual. Though these are very easily overlooked when focusing on the true strength of the film being the combat. The fight scenes in The Raid were some of the best in recent memory, and The Raid 2 takes that visceral energy and cranks it off the charts. The scope of the second film is much larger than the first, though it doesn't suffer from the same fate as most action movie sequels, where the increase in scope comes at the cost of the spirit of the original, resulting in the film being flashy, yet a hollow shell of its former self. With this scope, Evans was allowed to create a world more akin to what he called a comic book world. Aside from the hundreds of thugs and flunkies in the film, Evans treats audiences to memorable mini-boss type characters in Fracasso, a machete-wielding killer for hire, and the brother-sister duo of Hammer Girl and Baseball Batman, who, as their names imply, wield signature weapons to brutal effect, and a nameless assassin who gives Rama a solid fight for his life. The film's shot in a way that simultaneously captures the range of fight scenes involving dozens of characters while keeping close on individuals to showcase the visceral combat and technical artistry behind the performance of the Indonesian martial art known as pencak silat. The camera is rarely static, making even the slightest movements to keep the action center stage, as well as conveying the high energy and higher impact of the combat. The camera strikes a nice balance when it comes to the more gruesome moments of the film, of which there are plenty. It doesn't shy away from the gore, nor does it linger on every gruesome outcome for far too long just for the sake of shock value. It holds just long enough that the audience recognizes what just happened, but not holding so long that it feels like the scene stopped to linger on the gore. The camera is often trying to keep up with the action, rather than the action trying to keep up the pace just to stay in the frame, which only helps to enhance the intensity of the action, as well as put on display the masterful direction and planning by Evans and the mind-blowing choreography from Uwais. Overall, I give The Raid 2 4.5 stars, with the only flaws of note being trying to fit one too many subplots and backstories into the otherwise flawless and incredibly badass film. It's on the longer side, clocking in at around 2.5 hours, though the length is hardly noticeable as every minute is either spent developing plot or putting the body count in triple digits. This film is definitely a must-see for fans of martial arts films, especially the bloodier ones, and with The Raid 3 already announced and Ong Bak's Tony Jaa attached to star opposite Uwais, this is shaping up to be a martial arts trilogy for the ages. The Raid 2 is currently wide release in theaters. Back to you guys.